Alright, hello and welcome to Mickey Art. My name's Michelle Edhouse and today I am going to do a pour. How does it get any better than that? So one of the things that several people have been concerned about in the comments is my records. Now guys, these records have been given to me by a record collector who was going to take them to the dump. Most of them, let me see if I can get this to show. Most of them have scratching, unusable, unplayable. He's gone through, taken out all the valuable ones. He was taking them to the rubbish dump. It wasn't even good enough to take to a second-hand shop for them to pretty much give them away. So please don't be concerned that I'm using anything that's of any value. He's already been through and checked all that, and these are his rubbish bin pile. How do I prepare my records? I wipe them down, usually with isopropyl alcohol. And I always put a piece of tape, can you see that shiny patch there? A piece of tape across the back of the hole. What that does is it stops all the paint from just falling out and leaving you with an ugly hole in the back. Which you can always drill it back out again, but you can't fill it in. So if it's going to be used as for display, you're going to want that hole covered up. And if you don't have a bit of tape across the back, it doesn't fill in, guys. It just does not fill in. The other hint and tip I have, what I've done with this batch, and because I've been testing a whole heap. Why have I been testing them? Well, some of my paintings have in the past, the colour from the label has bled through and discoloured the paint. So what I've done, I've tried gessoing it, that didn't work. I've tried all sorts of things. I've tried spraying it with a varnish spray. I've tried all sorts. This seems to work. What I've done is just taken my Mars Black, which is painted, mixed up as normal for acrylic pouring, and it's mixed with Floetrol and water, and I've just painted over the label. So I now have a black surface all over to start from. So what are we going to do today after all of that waffle? So what we're going to do today is we're going to do a reverse, what are those things called? Oh, my brain's gone numb. Circle pour, ring pour, tree pour. What's the other word for it? Geode pour. And why do I say I'm going to do a reverse one? Well, because normally what you do is you put your darkest colour on the outside and then work your way in to white in the bottom of the cup or in the middle of the pour. And that's a bit boring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with, here's a previously used cup for my phthalo blue. So I'm going to use that as my pour cup, and I'm going to start off with phthalo blue in the bottom, and I'm going to work my way in and put a bit of white on the top. which will mean that the outside bit will be white if it doesn't flow off the sides. So, what colours am I using? What colours am I choosing? Today I'm going to use Reno Art Crimson Red, obviously my phthalo blue. I've got a couple of versions of teal. One's a bit lighter than the other. Neither of them there's much of. So I'm going to use those, obviously in that order. And then I have my Viridian Hue, one of my favouriteest green on the planet. And there's not much of that either, but that's okay. I've got some more mixing, but with the Viridian Hue, I've found that it can take a couple of days. Oh, that needs some more water in it. It can take a couple of days to mix. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is 2 of the small pots of Viridian Hue that I mixed about 2 hours ago. And as you can see, it's quite lumpy. Now that's a lot less lumpy than it was 2 hours ago. And every now and again I grab hold of it and I give it a stir. And more of those lumps, more parts of those lumps start to dissolve. See how it's even that much has dissolved some more. So I need to add a bit more water to that, give it another stir. And by the time I actually am ready to use it, it should be, see there's a lump still on that stick, can you see it? By the time I'm ready to use it, it should be ready to go. But for now, I'm using the last of my mix. And I've also got some of my plum purple. Now this one, I haven't written on it what I made it from. I'm pretty sure, but don't quote me on this, that this is the Rose Madder and Cobalt Blue, both from Reeves, with a little bit of white in it. But don't quote me on that. So those are my colours, and then I'm going to put white. I'm not sure. I want white next to my red. I'm going to be a bit of a pain now, aren't I? You know what I might do is I might put this blue as my last one before the white, so that it doesn't mix. I'm not a fan of pink, and I know that colour choices are just a point of view, and I know that that's all well and good, and in this 10 seconds it's not my favourite colour. So I'm going to pour. Now this is my pouring lip. I don't know if you can see this. Probably not. My hand is probably in the way. So when most people, when they do ring pours, they use a cup that they can bend, and they just layer the colours in so that they you know, the top colour pours off first and the second colour, you know, like that. I pour it in. Here's my pour point. It's going to make, oh, a bit tighter. Here's my pour point, and so what I do is I add my colours in at the pour point, and that way it pushes the other colours away. And so that's no big problem It's just my method of doing it. And if you know, all of my videos, guys, please don't duplicate me. Use them as ideas for you, and use them as awareness for what you desire. Eek. As your end result. I'm getting paint all over my hands. This is my hand wipe cloth. Can you tell? I just got lots and lots of fluff all over there. So yeah, as I was saying, just please use it as your suggestion box rather than your "this is how you must do it" box. And hopefully that will give you the awareness that you're never actually going to duplicate anybody's video ever. You're never going to get the same result with this style. Maybe if you're watching Rob Ross and you put the brush strokes in identically the right place, you'll get a tree that looks identical to the way Rob Ross paints it. But with this style of painting, you can mix exactly to the right recipe. You can pour it in at exactly the same consistency and exactly the same order and exactly the same amount and exactly the same places, and hey, it's just not gonna happen. All right, so please use our videos as an example, as an ideas platform. Do not use our videos as a cake recipe or a sewing recipe which you can duplicate time and time again. You'll never get the same result ever again, I promise you. So there we have it. You can see most of the layers. You can't see the phthalo blue anymore, but as you see, they've got that little layer thing happening. I'm going to put some white as an initial base to start us off, but I'm pretty sure we're going to have plenty of paint on this to go with. Hoi. And this is the part that I've never been very good at. I'm going to zoom you in so that you can see most of it. And trying to get the circles going. Trying to get it to be somewhere over the rainbow. All right. Now, what I didn't look at was what had silicone in it and what didn't have silicone in it. And that's okay. I know that the red did, the blue did, and there was definitely oil slicks on top of the others. Whether they'd been overmixed and aren't going to show up with any silicone, who knows? I sure don't. But who cares? Really? Let's zoom you back out. While you're still there, I'm going to torch it and see what cells do come up, so that then when we stretch we'll see what comes out. Okay, not a lot really, actually, which is a bit of a bum. Let's see. So yeah, I'm not too far away. Maybe it was. I'm popping bubbles now. Alright, let's give that a bit of a spin. Ooh, pretty. Look, there's our cells. Let me zoom you back out again so you can see the whole thing. So we've gone off the edge in one place, and I can see that we've got a couple of lumps of paint sitting there. So I'm going to get those out before we do anything else. Yeah. This is one of the things you need to be aware of when you are using your paints and then putting them aside and using them again a few days later and a few days later and a few days later, and then you scrape the bottom of the pot out. You can end up with trying to find another pin. I can't. Let's get another one out of here. You can end up with lumps in your paint. And if you don't get them out when it's wet, you'll end up with big lumps on your painting afterwards. Isn't such a biggie if you are planning on resining, but if you're planning on just varnishing, they look silly. Okay, so you know what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get my white and go around the edges, because you can't actually see much white in there, can you? And by putting this on here, when I tilt it, it pulls the other part of it out. One thing you do have to be aware of if you use this technique is to just evenly go around. Otherwise, and if you're gonna go all the way around, leave a gap between, let me show you, by leaving a gap around that part, and then I'm going to tilt this way, and what that will do is it leaves room for that white to tilt, the white at the top to come in and join with the other paint without pushing it and distorting it too much. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly rotate, allowing this to become So now I might add a bit more white now that I'm on this side. So why am I doing this? Well, your canvas or your record are dry, and so as the paint moves across it, it's having the viscosity is the word. It's the viscosity. So the viscosity of the paint gets trapped on the dryness of the substrate, the thing you're painting on. I'm just going to bring it down just enough, just to pull that white over the edge. I really like this, guys. This is pretty. Pretty. Bit annoyed at myself about how much chunks are in it, but that's okay. That was my choice. So I'm just tapping the bottom of the record where the white is, sort of taking some off with each tap, and in doing so pulling the colour down. There we go. Got it. Now I'm just going to tilt it to let it run back again. And hopefully stretch some of these rings back out, because there's some pretty stuff happening in there. So I'm just going to let it sit like that. Okay, so I've let that do its thing for quite a while now. Hasn't really moved a lot, but that's probably because there's not that much paint left on there. So I'm going to give it one more blast of, literally was a blast, sorry about that, with my torch, and let's see what, if anything changes. Nothing changes. Alright, I'm just gonna have a quick look. I'm not really liking these little white bubbles in here. They're too white. If you're gonna dig your lumpy bits out, like I'm doing, do it in a pretty artistic-y kind of way. It's my recommendation. If you make a mess, make it look like it's supposed to be there. Alright, I'm going to stop. I'm getting that whole message from the painting, the universe, wherever that message is coming from, to stop piggling. And she says as she continues to piggle. So I will be back in a few seconds your time with the dried finished product. I like it. I do. It's quite cool. Not sure where all my purple went though. Okay, so here it is dry. I'm not so sure I'm in love with this one. It's got some lumps and bumps and characteristics that aren't my favourite, but it's got some pretty cool rings on it. I do like this part in here, the centre point. Well, it's not really the centre of the record, it's the centre of the paw though. I like that, that's pretty cool. But there's a lot of blue and it had some lumps in it, and I didn't like that. How's it getting any better? Oh well, if anybody wants it, let me know. Let's do a deal. Otherwise, it can go in my recycle pile. How much fun can you have playing with paint, guys? Oh yeah, by the way, the bug decided to have some fun playing with paint. Made a nice little pretty trail. And then left its carcass to enjoy itself. I do like these little cells over here. So how much fun are you having? And are you sharing it with us on the Acrylic Pouring for Fun group? Come play. Come say hi. And what else is possible, guys? So today is Tuesday, New Zealand time. And I'm going live 8 AM on Thursday. So check that out, whatever your time is. So that will be 8 AM GMT plus 12. So if you're in Europe, you might be on GMT time, which would mean it would be 8 PM Wednesday night for you. And yeah, work it out. I'm GMT plus 12. What are you? Come play. Have fun with me live online, and you guys get to tell me what to do. How does it get any better than that? So what else is possible? How much fun can you have? And what are you choosing to create with the magic that you be? I adore you all. And we will see you in 2 days' time. Bye-bye.